and it's another spirited conversation that's coming up at this point. We're talking about a women's empowerment educational seminar, I should say, and it is being organized by Palacio, and one of the moderators is attorney at law and also a consultant, Audrey Matura. Good morning and welcome, and thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. Really appreciate it.
So, where do we start?
Where do we start?
There's so many issues, I think, taking place. Isani and I, interestingly enough, we're starting off talking about the issue of sexual violence in the country and the impact on women. Annie, I want to find out where the impetus was for putting together this particular seminar.
Well, since 2011, through my charitable organization, I had already started on the educational path of educating women and men, really, on their rights and roles and responsibilities in making this country a better place to live, and to help with the foundation of the family. I found out so many years later, instead of us progressing, we're regressing. And one of the many articles that Ms. Matura wrote hit a chord with lots of people in the Mandala. And I started to get a lot of inboxes and asking me, Miss Annie, when are you going to do the women's seminar again? Because we need to be educated on what our rights are. There are lots of issues that are happening in our country, and we have become reactionary instead of going through the process in the right manner. We become reactionary because we don't know what the processes are. So I, through my organization, contacted Miss Audrey, and I said, listen, your articles are hitting a chord. It goes along with what my belief is, that the family is the foundation, and our family is slowly not getting back together somehow. We are falling apart. And it shows in our communities, it shows in neighborhoods, it shows countrywide. High rate of violence, children not going to school, children being abused. Women who are single mothers, who themselves are being overwhelmed. We have a high rate of depression and suicide in our country. We are falling apart, and we have to do something real fast. And then I look at the social media, and I find out a lot of people are ranting and raving, and that does not do anything for us. We need to get people who are very versed in two issues that we'll be dealing with on Saturday. It's the legal part of it, which Ms. Matura will be dealing with, and we also have health issues that are affecting women because of our women now being all by themselves now, because our men are either dying or in jail. The process of raising a child becomes much more of a burden. And they're taking on so many other stuff that women are strong, but we are also human beings, and we do fall apart. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing this seminar. So it's going to be both legal and health issues.
And Audrey, let's talk about one of the articles that obviously Annie was referring to. It was your explanation of common law unions, a legal term, but one that is so commonly misinterpreted. Let's talk about your experience and the people that you represent as to how much people really know about what their rights are when it comes to a cohabitation union, or when you live together, let's say that, and when you have children outside of marriage. How much, what's the basis for the knowledge that people have?
I found it amazing that I would say almost like only 1% knew. People kept referring to their partner as, oh, my common law wife, my common law husband, but they were still legally married to someone else. And that's what shocked me. And what made me write that article was that I was at the police station dealing with a domestic issue in which one of my clients was the wife, and the mistress had made a complaint. And the police officer kept referring to the mistress as the common law wife, the common law wife. And I'm thinking, wow, if the police don't realize the legal difference, what can I expect from the common person? Then I kept correcting him. I said that she could never be the common law wife. These people are legally married. He said, but I understand they're going through a process of divorce. I said, oh, they may have started a process, but until you get the decree absolute, they're still married, and people don't know that. You can get a decree nisi. A nisi is the court saying, okay, I agree, you all should get divorced, but they always give you 4 to 6 weeks in between before they make it absolute. It's until it's absolute, it becomes absolute per se. So there was a case, not in Belize, in Trinidad, where the man died before the absolute. And the question was, okay, were they divorced or not? And can the wife claim under his estate, and she could have, because they were not legally
Until
divorced
the
yet.
divorce is final.
Until the divorce is final. But then it had other implications. I had situations where the mistress would have been the one that has been living with this man for a couple of years, 10, 12, even up to 20 years. And then he dies, not doing anything legally for her benefit. And the wife then has all the rights to come in, claim his body, bury him, and take over whatever his personal assets as the law allow.
Yeah.
And then the woman is saying, but wait, I helped to build that estate, but it's not in your name, honey. It's not in your name. And
But
so I
Audrey-
think people need to get their legal affairs together.
Already saying mistress, you don't evoke some emotion
Of
there.
course,
People don't
but
like
it's
being
true.
called mistress.
But what else is
And
it? A lover,
It's a matter of, it's
a
a matter
partner?
of connotation.
But yeah, because people. But yes, women don't like being called mistress.
But they are the mistress.
The younger ones, I hear a lot. I don't know for sure if it's just
Okay.
talk on social media, but they talk about side chick.
Yes.
But let's go back to legal definitions of common law, right? It means you must have lived together for a certain period of time.
So it means first you must be male female.
Male, female.
They don't recognize same sex as common law.
Okay.
So it's male female. You
Unmarried.
Have unmarried. So it could be you may have been divorced or so, but at the moment you're unmarried, and then you have to be living together 5 years. And after 5 years, they kick in, and you're lawfully common law wife. Meaning you have many rights just like a wife, you know.
Yeah.
You can benefit under his estate. You can get maintenance, which a lot of people don't realize. You got protection orders, occupation orders. You just are considered a wife.
So here's my question then. What is the difference in that context between a common law union and a marriage? If after 5 years, either the man or the woman has the right to enjoy under the estate?
Great question. In terms of estate, there's no big difference. The same way the common law wife can say, well, I am entitled to 1/3, and same way the legal married wife can say, I am entitled to 1/3, they're the same. But it's not for everything, they're the same. And their benefits and their disadvantages. For example, a legally married wife with children can go to the family court to get redress, but can also go to the Supreme Court, where I think some of the redress is much better. But a not legally married woman goes to the family court only because you're not married. The Supreme Court will dissolve your marriage or nullify your marriage upon a divorce, but you're not married. So you go to the family court. You don't go get legal separation or anything. You go there for benefits of children, etc. So if I am married, for my child, I go to the family court, but I can also go to the Supreme Court to get maintenance and custody issues and
because
so.
it is a legal agreement
Right.
that you've made in the marriage.
But if I'm only common law, I can only go to the family court. But there's another huge difference, which is really ironic. If I'm not married, but I'm in a common law union and I have a child in that union, for the sake of custody, that child is the child of a single woman. So I automatically have full custody right over my child. But if I'm married, it's 50-50. I would have to really show something erroneous or really bad, like my husband is a drunkard, he
So let's go
neglects and
again.
abuses. I know it's hard to accept, but
You see what is important, the
Let's go
seminar
again.
is important.
So you're in a common law union, right? And you are a contributing and productive parent.
yes,
In this case,
The
a
man,
man,
yes.
right? You're telling me that despite the personal differences that my common law wife and I may have, that leads to separation.
yeah.
This is notwithstanding the fact that I am an excellent dad to my child. That woman has full custody over
Yes,
that child.
yes.
No, good. I understand that part of it. What remedies can be put in place for a person then to be able to challenge that in court? That look, me and the woman are not together anymore. I understand that we have our irreconcilable differences, but I'm prepared to fight tooth and nail for equal.
Oh, good question. I love this because you actually have visitation and access right. She has custody and control.
And maintenance responsibilities.
Oh yeah, you have maintenance responsibilities. So you could go to court and the court will say, okay, you get to see your child every other week, over the weekends. Summer you get a month, Easter you get a week, and they literally split up the child, you know. It's like you're slicing up things. But you can't get custody unless you can prove that she is a habitual drunkard. She's a common prostitute. She neglects the child. She's abusive. And those are very hard things to prove, because usually you will have to admit she's a good mother, but we just can't get along, and she may be a good provider too, but we just can't get along.
She might be a good mother, but you might be a better dad. Who
In
knows?
a marriage, it's different. The husband automatically has 50% custody right, but often it's the wife that gets the care and control. Much more often. But because you have 50-50, the same playing field, you can also most likely apply just like the wife and get the custody.
That then is the primary and the most outstanding difference between a common law and a marriage.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So to me, it sounds like for a woman, common law is better. You get, after 5 years, you get the benefit, all the benefit of wife. And in case things don't work out well, at least I don't have to go from the court to fight and figure out if I have custody of my pick me. They may pick me anyway. So, you know, honestly.
But we have to be very listen, let's say this much though. The fact that that there are common law rights is progressive for us, because before there was nothing.
There was nothing.
You walked away from 12 years living with somebody with nothing, no rights whatsoever. So it is progress, but you know, there needs to be a men's advocacy group who starts to work to agitate some of these issues.
At best. It's
But
very
let's face
controversial in the sense that I don't know. At the end of the day, one can seek to sort of circumvent that process. I could just get married for the sake of getting married legally, and that automatically allows me 50%.
Yes, that's what you want.
That's what you feel.
Do that if you want, because I've heard men will say, oh, 5 years common law? Okay, at 4.5 years, me and she broke up. And it breaks the relationship, and they stay broken for 6 months, you know, and they make up back because it has to be 5 continuous years.
Yes, I was just going to
What
mention
happens
that.
if the child in the union is not legitimately for the common law father?
Oh, but the law says that once you are with a woman, that her children are your responsibility to maintain, and vice versa. So it doesn't matter that it's not biologically
So
your
it's
child.
the calf and the cow.
Yes, you get the calf.
Of course, it's the entire package.
No, but it's really progressive and good, you know, because think about it. I have seen children where they never knew their biological dad.
Yeah.
They can't even locate him. They don't even know. And the only person they ever knew as a father figure
Is the
is the stepfather.
common law
And
father.
they really like that person as a father.
So
what will you do? You'll abandon that child? Then the man says, but they're not really mine. I said, but you treated him as a child of the family.
Yeah.
Therefore, you need to be able to understand that you need to sustain and maintain that child. And for all intents and purposes, that child only knows you as a father figure. So you also not only pay maintenance, you know, you also have the right to visit and access that child.
Yeah. Which we hope any good man, if have to playing a role in the child's life, would want to.
Correct.
Let's look, and you know, I appreciate Isane's input as a male.
We could come another time and I can explain the whole thing only to you,
But it is
Isani.
important. You know, once upon a time, I remember speaking to a magistrate from the family court, and they have often spoke about how men naturally feel that the family court system is set up against them. But it's because they don't access it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times informal agreements are made about maintenance and visitation that later when one person reneges on it, they can't do anything, or they haven't formalized it to be able to do anything about it.
Right, and they didn't keep their receipts to prove that they were maintaining the child all along.
Okay, so let's
We're talking women's empowerment. So let's go back.
He's helping to empower.
Okay, one question then. Let's get your
I'm just trying to wrap my
situation.
mind around this whole thing. I lost my train of thought. Okay, here's a question. You often find couples, they have children and they stay in the union, quote unquote, for the sake of the children, simply because they know what the ramifications are. Should they separate? Should they reach that point where they go their separate ways, what the consequences of that decision are?
let me tell you, I've met couples where they come for divorce now after being together 20, 30 years. And I'm like, why no? And they say, look, I waited until all my children were grown because I did not want to go through the battle of fighting over children. And when you hear some horror stories, you wonder like, how you live that long in that marriage like that?
It's punishing.
It's like, yes, but they feel like they didn't fight for the child, but it comes into the other topic that Annie will have us discuss, the psychological and emotional abuse.
You see why we need both of them
Can
together.
we please talk about that? I
Yes.
have heard this situation so much where the parents stay together for the children.
It's
spoken with
unhealthy.
people who really believe I'm having a child with X, Y, and Z. We must get married. We don't love each other, but we must get married.
Exactly.
One of the things I keep on telling people is you teach your children what love is.
Exactly.
You teach children what a relationship
is.
should be.
That's right.
And you teach children how you should be respected and treated in a relationship.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So if I stay with my abusive, alcoholic husband,
Right.
or a wife that doesn't love me and maybe cheats and neglects me and my needs,
That's right.
that is what your children learn. So yes, you don't fight over custody, but now when they go out looking for husband and wife, they want the same type of
Relationships that they think
relation
that is real.
torture.
Because
I
that's
would
what
say.
they learn.
And that's what they have
Because
learned.
that's what they have seen. The first
Exactly.
representation of a relationship is what you see at home.
Exactly. And hence the reason for the legal and health aspects of the seminar. Because I have seen it 20 odd years in the classroom. The frustrated children, the children who are very, you would think are very so-called bad, but they are going through so much at home that when they come to school, they act it out. And these are the problems we're seeing in our society now with our young people. Because they will tell you, but my mom and dad does that, so it's okay. It's what they see is what they do. What the role model that they have at home, that is what they're going to role model outside. So it comes to the point where we're saying that everything starts from home. The foundation is from home. And if you cannot teach your children between 0 to 7 years about ethics and morals and what is right and about respect and humility, you have already cast your child out of society because you have 7 years to do that. If you don't do that, you're in trouble. So is society, so is your home, so is our country. And that's the reason why we're blending these two together, because it does tell us that our society needs both foundation for us to understand how we can be productive and happy citizens, because we're not happy citizens. It's obvious. The news, when I cringe when I see Marlene have to read on the news these aspects of high violence and what's going on. We just had the Domes family. Is that in the Domes? All right, we had that with poor little girl Faylene. Then we had another person who obviously is frustrated when he or she would put a child there in the canal. So we are going through a lot, and we cannot. And I'm noticing on the ranting and raving on Facebook again, blaming the woman and stuff. But then we are a society that we don't even look at. What about the men? Does the man even know what happened or what occurred? Or was anybody there for that child or that young person that was crying out for assistance?
Was that child a result of sexual violence? We don't know that.
Exactly.
Well, I think one of the things that we need to look at, there are two situations on the issue that you all say of the people staying together for children. There are those who say they consciously stay together and they try and make it civil, but the children sense the tension. And it damages them terribly, and then they are supposed to go out into society and perform normal, and we wonder why we have so many people that are not normal. That's the aspect. But there's another horrible aspect where they go for a legal separation at the court. One person asked for occupation order and the court refused. I've had cases where I just wanted faint when the people tell me, I went to court and the magistrate said, well, since he no got nowhere to go or she no got nowhere to go, staying at the same house. And they stay in the same house. I met this lady and she stayed in the same house. But what has happened? The man has been really rude to her. Her children now resent their father, and one of them reached a point that he tried to kill the father. What have you taught your child? They have now seen, they saw livingly how your husband, their father, has ill-treated you. And they pick sides. I've had cases where one child justify what the father do and the other child decides to be with the mother, and but they're in the same home. I mean, I'm like, what
Yeah.
unhealthy lives? And that same abusive mentality goes into the society. They have children, and we expect them to have functional children when they can't. They
don't know
themselves
anything
never
else.
knew
Exactly.
how to be functional.
Yeah.
And that's just talking about that kind of abuse. And we haven't started talking about physical abuse, sexual abuse, psychological abuse, and now we have
Financial
financial abuse.
Yeah, where you go and ask for money to purchase every single item you may potentially need. Now, I wanted to talk about the issue with marriage and the dissolution of marriage as well, because a lot of people don't know you have to be married. Is it 3 years before
Yes.
you can file for a divorce?
Yes.
So if I
Yeah.
get caught up in this emotions and I say, okay, let's get married, and next month I realize you are not the person I thought you were,
That's right.
I can't divorce you.
Yes, you can,
You will.
but it's very difficult to prove. There's
mean, I
an
have to
exception. There's an exception where it said that you have to prove hardship.
Yeah.
So if you could prove that there's some
Evidence
hardship
that
to you,
you're
but you may
abusing
not
me in
have
some way.
right. If you can't prove the hardship, then you can't get the divorce. So you're right. When you get married, you cannot apply for a divorce until after 3 years of being married. Then you can apply for divorce. If you're applying on the grounds of irreconcilable differences, you have to prove that you were living separate and apart for 3 years. And separate and apart can be under the same roof, but you're not doing wife and husband duties for each other. And most of those duties many times are basic things, intimate things. The only way you can get a divorce before being separated for 3 years is if you prove some form of cruelty, adultery, right? Then it could be automatically. You don't wait 3 years to say the marriage just broke down. We have grounds for divorce. Right now, as it is, I know that the Chief Justice is heading a working group to review the divorce legislation because in many ways it's very antiquated.
Yeah.
I always say, having been a divorce attorney for a while now, that by the time people reach at me, the marriage did not break down then. A marriage breaks down long before people are trying to hold it together. So by the time you come to me wanting a divorce, it's really gone. So what's there to wait another 3 years?
Or you have
it's
this
finished
standoff for who files for the divorce first.
because of cost.
Cost,
cost.
exactly.
Exactly.
So it's not working. We cannot, will not, there is no future, but you
can-
file first.
It can be very messy. Oh man, like that's a whole topic. I could just sit down for hours and explain to you
One of the
guys.
things
So
that
this
they are-
is what you want women to know
Yes.
at the seminar.
Yes. Exactly.
I always
Okay.
say, I say,
I
get.
know, right?
You guys will be there till midnight.
But listen to this woman.
You never
And
know.
men-
The women, right?
No, get married before you get the legal advice. I really think
Exactly.
you
Saturday.
should. We should be practical. Sit down and find
Correct.
out what are my rights. What would happen? What if this? What if that? You can do your little prenuptial agreements.
That's
You
right.
can
Yeah.
do deeds of settlement before. Like there are things you can do because I know people like say, but you don't expect it and go bad. Nobody expect it goes
Nobody
bad.
expect it go
But
bad.
you know what?
When you're
Everybody
in love,
have the
you're
right to
in love.
change their
Exactly.
mind. We're evolving.
We're
It's a
evolving.
relationship, and sometimes it just doesn't
Change.
work out.
That's right. And that's why we are having this women's seminar.
When?
And
Where?
Saturday, July 29th. It's going to be at UWI campus in Belize City.
Is there limited space?
No, come. Please come.
We'll
It's
make
a-
space.
We'll
We'll make
stand.
space.
Men
yes.
and women, by the
Men,
way.
Yes. It's a women's seminar, but men can come too.
Yeah.
It's also part of my charitable organization that I have. So it's $25 registration fee. That's for the free cost because we will feed you. We will house you in a nice AC so you don't get hot and say you have to leave because you're not going anywhere. And do what Miss Matura said. Don't get married before Saturday. Men and women. Come on out.
Some
and
people
find
may
out.
call you for some advice today.
Come on out and hear exactly what your legal rights are and
you-
your health issues
I was
that
just
are
going to
accompanying.
say, you've also, I mean, I'm so grateful for the information you shared, Audrey. But there's also a health aspect for women that
Yes,
you'll be
yes,
focusing
it is.
on. So
We're
it's
going to
your
have
Mental health,
mental
basically.
health and because dealing with mainly because I have found over my years because I also do a lot of counseling over my years of in the classroom and do a little bit of counseling is that depression and suicide are on a very high rate. It's going very much high. Most people are getting frustrated. They don't have outlets to go to. They don't have people to talk with. And in Belize society, we're still coming out of that don't tell anybody our business problems, right? So we're slowly getting there. So we're also going to have a mental part of it that deals with that type of the issue.
Or they're just ignorant as to what are their rights.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is because
Yeah.
we do have rights, but nobody knows. Like for example,
And there are counseling
there are
services
they
available
are,
across
they are,
the country.
but
Some for
it's
free.
a stigma.
Let me
But it's
tell-
a stigma.
Let me
There's
tell a
stigma to
simple
that.
one that people make mistake, men and women, that when you get divorced, after your divorce, you have 1 month in which to apply for separation of properties through the court. So usually a divorce attorney will do your divorce and also file division of property. And then the court after the divorce will hear the division of property. Many people don't know that there's a time limit. So 3 years later they call me and say, oh, I divorced so long and me and my husband, we don't settle estate matters. And so I'm like, really? You can't apply through the court now? So now to figure out a deed of settlement. And that's like a huge area that many people don't know their rights. So like, I could tell you so many things. People go like, I never know that, I never know that. And so I usually say to people, why didn't you act, or why are you acting like this? When I'm telling them what's the right, they say, Miss, I never know. And so I realize it's out of ignorance. You fail to act, and so you lose out. Or you really think you had no right, so you've kept quiet all this time, hoping that it will just work out. Like there are people who say, well, I'm not going to family court because I may think all I could get that $50. Hello?
Yes.
That's not true. You can get more than $50, but
Or
you have
they
to prove
feel
the
that,
means.
that father won't pay, so they just don't bother going. But they can also have it enforced as well.
Yes, they don't know a
But
lot.
doesn't that work two ways though, in the sense that ignorance to the law is not necessarily exemption from the law?
Yes, it is. It works like that. But
knowledge
but
is
that
empowerment.
Knowledge is empowerment, and
right.
that's where we come in.
Once you know what your rights are, you will know how to act or not to act, and that's our focus. That just know it, or know where to access it, and don't be frightened, because many times when people separate, be it from common law or a marriage, it's a really taxing process. You people go through different phases of depression, just like if someone died, the grieving and everything. So they're not in the presence of mind to even go to access certain things they have at the court. And because they don't know better and they hear rumors from their friends, they don't know better, and they just sit there and they don't realize that they have certain rights.
The book and read the law. It's
legally
not
for
always accessible.
Exactly.
Not friendly.
It's not friendly for common
there are
people.
some user-friendly versions.
Yes,
it's
there
just
are
to be.
a few.
You can go to the family court and
Right
get
here,
access to those.
Audrey
I was going to
has.
say,
Audrey has.
there are user-friendly versions, but I think. Yes, it is important for us to equip ourselves with knowledge, and this is one opportunity to be able to do so.
Yes.
And it's getting free legal counsel.
Women's
Well,
Department.
$25.
Usually it's $3.50 an hour, people. So $25 is very good for you to come out and hear and also ask questions. So come with your questions too on that day. So it's July 29th.
So in other words, they shouldn't inbox you, right? Audrey?
No,
They should
don't
come
inbox
to the
Come to
conference.
the
Come
seminar.
yes.
I won't give
answer
advice on Facebook.
on Facebook.
But hopefully Audrey will do this countrywide, because women countrywide have the problem.
And it's a good thing that
And I could do
said
it in
that.
Spanish too, don't worry.
That's why I got you, girl. Because I have people all the way from PG who actually inboxed me and asked, will you come down here? Which will be wonderful, because shame to say, but I've never been to PG. So that would be
It'll be a new experience.
That's a whole new show.
it's a whole new show. So I will be taking it countrywide.
I think maybe we'll hear that.
Oh, I know, right? It's Will's fault.
Thank you so much for stopping in, and best of luck.
You're
It
welcome.
takes place on Saturday, starting at
9 o'clock at UWI Belize City Campus. So we'll be right there till the conference
You
room.
both should attend, by the way.
Yes,
I think you should
Marlene and
attend.
I'll
Isani.
make an effort to.
Please do.
$25, it's a worthy
I think
cause.
Isani has lots of questions.
I have a world of questions.
So honestly, you'll be amazed what
Yes,
you will learn.
But then
And
you
bring-
will also be an advocate for other men, that you can
Yeah,
tell
because we're
them
also
what
gonna
else
have-
is taking
And then you will
place.
notice that the law is not all skewed against men.
No.
There's a lot of benefits men have,
Yes.
and they just don't know
They
it.
just don't know it either.
All right. So find out about your legal rights within marriages, common law unions, and when it comes to the children,
Yes.
and also your specific health, physical health, and mental health needs. That's coming up this Saturday at UE
UWI, right.
Belize City Campus, $25, and
9
that
to
goes
12.
towards the charity. 9
Exactly.
to 12. Don't
Thank
miss
you.
it.
Be
Thank
on
you,
time.
ladies.
Thank you too.
We're gonna go ahead and take our break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about the upcoming 4-H AGM. So stay tuned.